Mary would never leave the kids alone with Jimmy Lee. Jim Bob Duggar frequently attributes his deep faith and love for the Lord to his mother Mary Duggar. However, he does not always speak kindly of his father Jimmy Lee. Jim Bob's connection with his father has always been rocky, and it now looks that there is more to the situation than meets the eye. Continue reading to find out why Grandma Mary Duggar wouldn't let the Duggar children be alone with Jimmy Lee. Did Mary Duggar keep her husband's dark activities a secret from the world? Mary Duggar died in 2019, although she was a much-loved family member. Her grandkids pay respect to her memory with internet tributes. But could she have been hiding a terrible family secret for years? Grandpa Duggar was accused of Saw 2. Never charged, never arrested. The alleged Saw was not related to any of the Duggar children, Katie Joy posted on her Instagram page. This story was told to me by Deanna Duggar and others. According to the YouTuber, people close to the Duggar family verified that Mary would not allow the children to be alone with Jimmy Lee. Even Jim Bob said, "Josh inherited the sins of my father," Katie continued. JL was known to be very abusive, with severe mental health issues, and a serial cheater on Mary. They all know but dance around it. I have no idea what happened exactly allegedly. She included a screenshot from her Instagram stories, saying that this was one of the most startling things about the Duggars she discovered. Because Jimmy Lee Duggar died in 2009, the public may never learn the truth. Many members in the Duggar family's network, however, continue to shield Josh for years. It's not unimaginable that they'd wish to keep the truth about Jimmy Lee hidden as well. And it's telling that Mary Duggar prevented her husband from being around children. The real reason for the Duggars' dress code. Michelle Duggar established the family trend. Unlike the Amish plain aesthetic, the Duggar dress requirement is not a family heritage. Michelle Duggar donned the same attire as her friends as a teen, something she now regrets. In a now-deleted blog article for TLC in 2012, she stated, "Growing up I would wear a bathing suit or shorts, and not realize that it was revealing. When I got older I really felt convicted about my responsibility for how I was causing others to be defrauded. And I began to cover up because I felt responsible for my part in that." In another post, the Duggar matriarch clarified that her husband explained to her about how men see things, and what goes on in their minds, when they look at women. With this in mind, the Duggars' parents started dress their children modestly at home. Michelle has stated that the children were never forced to follow the dress code, but were instead encouraged to make comparable choices as they grew older. "I find that my daughters are even more careful with their appearances," Michelle wrote at the time. "Their modesty is their own. They own it themselves. I'm not the one telling them what to wear. As my 12-year-old girls are growing and maturing, sometimes I'll have to mention to them when things are getting too snug or revealing." For the Duggars, Nike was more than just a shoe brand. The Duggars' stance on modest dress is meant to avoid defrauding. In Duggar speak, this means stirring up desires that cannot be righteously fulfilled, as Mom Michelle has said. To put it another way, it implies not clothing in a way that could be considered provocative. The Duggar sons were given a novel method for avoiding sexual thoughts. In the book, Growing Up Duggar, daughters Jana, Jessa, Ginger, and Jill explained that the family used the code word, Nike, whenever they passed a woman who looked immodest. That was the cue for the boys to look down at their shoes. That's why 19 Kids never featured the family going to the beach. In another blog post, Michelle explained, "In general we don't do a lot of swimming events where swimming suits are worn, because it's just too hard for the guys to try to keep their eyes averted in those situations. Instead, they would go to private creeks or visit friends who had pools, where they could wear modest clothes in the water." Of course, the message is that men cannot control their sexual desires, so women must avoid enticing them by covering themselves. Critics have lambasted the family for holding this idea, saying it's especially devastating given that oldest son Josh Duggar is presently spending time in prison for possessing child pornography.